session, we'll be dealing with significance of assistive technology, types and trends, and applications of assistive technology. These are the topics that I'll be dealing with. So what exactly is assistive technology? Starting from, it's not exactly, it can be literally anything, an equipment, and hardware, a software, a piece of small tools, starting from a small pencil to the biggest rehabilitation VR services. It can be anything that helps the person to, in some sort of assisting activity. It necessarily shouldn't be, limited to some sort of tool or equipment. I have come across people, assistive technology, oh, you mean like wheelchairs? It's not limited to wheelchairs. It's anything that helps the child to overcome the barrier, helps the child to sustain, move forward with functionalities. So as you see, it's an umbrella term for assistive technology products, assistive technology services. All these things comes under assistive technology. It also includes the process of selecting the assistive technology, meaning selecting what sort of design should be adopted for a specific child. Different disabilities have different sort of needs, different sort of assistance. For example, a child with cerebral palsy may not have issues with sensory problems, so it requires a different sort of assistive approach. So that is what assistive technology is all about. It can be adaptive rehabilitation device. It can be a system that helps the person to adapt. It can help the person to assist. It can be all these things. So it's just an umbrella term for all products and services that comes in helps with assistance. So selecting the right sort of assistive technology helps the person to become independent. That's where the significance comes in. I have people coming and telling to me, if I take an assistive technology I take a device in early, I want my child to be independent without any help with this sort of assistance. Like for example, I don't want my child to go with the crutches into school. I want him to walk alone. So I need I have parents coming and telling me physiotherapy sessions might be better. But the thing is that you're actually empowering the child to be independent. With that sort of like crutches or wheelchairs, the child is himself or herself is able to do that activity that which was a barrier earlier himself. So you're actually empowering the child to, sometimes a technology or a tool helps to accomplish a goal that he or she was not able to do at all. Sometimes a tool or a device may help the person to accomplish a goal that was actually very difficult to get it, but now he or she is better able to achieve it. And there are other things as well where helping the child to interact with the environment much better. For example, how many of you have come across people who are people who are differently challenged to drive? It's difficult for them, but with a little sort of tweaking in scooter or driving like in cars, they also are able to drive. There's nothing right now, there's nothing that stops them, because a lot of technologies is available, and it's not just for people with physical environment, it's out there for all types of disorders and disability. So that is about assistive technology. Now, what exactly is the significance? Is it really important? Should you really start with this sort of technology in early years? Can we just train the child without it? There are different sort of questions. Why exactly we are using assistive technology? The question comes when we listen to different issues. I have lots of parents with me that tells very lately did we come to know about my child's attention issues when he or she enters a school or thing. But if proper assistance and proper observation helps us to really understand the learning and attention issues, which can be really tweaked and improved very much with this sort of assistive technology devices, rehabilitation, sustaining, equipping, all these devices. So this can really benefit in early intervention. In the coming slides, I wanted to introduce about a very innovative product. It starts with early intervention, so like it's coming. It helps like using an assistive technology does not limit the child in using the child is using this. It's not limiting, but it's helping the child to care for themselves, and it's making the child happy to be independent. It helps them with work and their families, and it also helps them to be part of the community. So in earlier times, it's like if a person has a physical impairment or a sensory issue, it's like he or she she shouldn't play because she has this sort of thing, so it's very risky. Now nothing is stopping them, because there is every sort of technology and assistance to be part of the community. Just a little tweaking and just a little improvement in the sort of technologies can help them easily be part of the community. This sort of technology also helps them with the challenges they face. For example, a person with autism spectrum disorder, what do they face? What sort of challenges do they face when they go out? There are lots of sensory inputs. So what if I tell you there's actually a chip or that sort of technology to control your sensory issues, or make them adaptable to sensory issues? So these types of technologies are always available there. It is there right now with us. So it helps a person to be more productive in life. For example, like starting with when all of you were babies, your first step of walking. How is it? You mean taking your first step of walk? You're shivering. You're taking but when you take that first step, you see the happiness in your parents' eyes. You see the glow in your parents' eyes. It's a huge reinforcement. That first step is a huge achievement for the child itself. So this is exactly what happens when an impairment or a physically challenged or differently able person does a task of himself or herself, which is a huge achievement for them and also for their parents. So this is what using assistive technology does not limit a person, or it does not just make the person lower, but it is more efficient and empowers a person as well. And I have people coming up to me telling, okay, these sort of technologies are there only for those who are having physical impairment, or those who have problems with hand and all. What about sensory issues? What about behavioral disorders? What about learning disabilities? Is there something else? Yes, I want to say there is a huge lot of technologies, and we as a company are working in one such technology called AutiCare, which is a solution for all these types of disorders, starting from neural development disorders, autism spectrum, learning disability, Down syndrome, cerebral palsy. So we can assist all these are rehabilitation devices that helps the individual to be part of the community much better and improve their daily life skills as well. So is there any benefit of assistive technology? Like I told, is there any significance? Benefit, significance, all comes under the same topic. So asking about benefits, the first thing, like I told, is it really helps the person to be independent. Imagine a person who's a bit differently challenged. So he or she may not be able to go across the hall, control switches as effectively as a normal person. But imagine if there's some sort of a remote, or if there is some sort of a material that can help him control from where he sits. It creates a huge impact where he can control systems at his home with his mind. There is no boundaries limiting the person. So that's how the significance, that's how the assistive technology has an impact on the person. And what are the components that helps in each individual? What are the components? Like, it helps with movement, it helps with communication, it helps with how the person sees, clearly understands. And latest, there is an innovation where AI related transcription models, where when the teacher probably children with learning disability, etc., may be slow to pick up. So what if I tell you there's already technology services that are able to listen, transcript automatically what the professors and teachers say, and then clearly helps to understand the learning disabled child. So there is a lot of possibilities and technologies that are already out there under assistive technology. And right now, what really has to, most of the schools and programs are including assistive technology because of this point where, it helps the child to, enjoy their rights equally. For example, in a in a for example, in a school, when coming into school, children who have no problems with legs and is a health who's not impaired can easily jump and run. You can use the stairs even when there's no lift. But what happens to children who are in wheelchairs, children who are using crutches? So how do you're just eliminating them? Don't enter the school, so it's better you keep your health this way and all that. You can't limit that person to any restrictions. So what happens is you are actually including the child. You're giving the child a right to access every sort of freedom, every sort of rights as a normal person. So it's actually accepting them and giving them that sort of right to access equal opportunities. And not just that, not just in education, in every sort of areas, in social, in recreational activities, in vocational. There are lots of people who says, I want my child to get a job, a basic job would do. But not just any job, your child will get the best job, because there are vocational training rehabilitation services, one of which our company products specialized vocational rehabilitation services. The child is trained in certain types of vocations, so he or she is efficient enough to go there and present herself as the better skilled person. So there's nothing that stops right now. There's nothing that stops a disabled person. Everything is done in assistive technology, and this sort of branch is growing day by day. It has huge possibilities, and I'm proud to say that I'm in one of such companies, which has a lot of innovation creation coming up, and we are developing it. So who exactly chooses this sort of assistive technology? Is there some sort of process? Yes, there is always a process, because not understanding what the child needs, not understanding what sort of design the child would be more adjusted to, not understanding what child would really be interested in. Because, for example, a child who doesn't like to go around much, who has sensory issues, we buy him some sort of red colored, very fancy type car or something that helps him to drive him over or something, but the child won't use it because that's not his interest. Something that helps the person to connect with the interest is the assistive technology sort of thing. So we should ensure everything, how the child would use it, how the child would be adapted to it. So what is exactly the process? Understanding the child, collecting information about the child, and also the family background. Was there any sort of problems in the family? How did they overcome that sort of problems? Is the child getting adapted to it? Is the child not getting adapted? And identify what the person really wants. I mean, if the child, probably a person who is paralyzed, may be telling, I want to go out and travel the world. So literally it's impossible, but now it's possible. Now it's happening. So so that's how huge assistive technology is. So you're letting the the person choose the interest, and then designing the assistive technology as such. So and then as such, finally you fix an assistive technology tool, and then finally then you say, is this the right sort of intervention? You're asking the child, you're asking the family, they're asking a group of people, special educators, occupational therapists, psychologists. You have a panel of people who is a team, so that their effective intervention could really help the child to get the right sort of assistive technology. There's a huge spectrum of it, and that's why we need specialized, customized tools to understand the right sort of thing. And then finally, brainstorm 18 solution. Meaning that for a single disorder, there can be a huge spectrum of 80 tools. For example, for autism, they can be starting from a very low technology tool like, a pencil grip. The child may not be interested in holding a pencil like that. Maybe he or she needs a bit of more, more recreational way of holding it. So how would we really enter into it? How would we really help the child, to be integrated into it? So then finally, we go to the mid-tech technology. The middle, the child is given a bit more bigger pads and colorful pencils to hold, like the child is not working through it. But what if it's a VR scenario, virtual scenario, where the child is given some sort of activity in front of it, and the child is asked, if you want this sort of reinforcement, if you want to see cartoons or, better reinforcement figures, you do this task. So if you're actually reinforcing the person. So the child does obviously the child will do better in the third thing. So there is a lot of ED solutions, and it is up to this team and the parents and the child to, basically understand interest and participate in it, and then finally try it out, and then understand how it's working. Is it really working? Is it just a small progress? How far the child has progressed? Understanding that sort of concepts. So this is what the process is involved. And finally, we have, it's not easy to choose an assistive technology as you go to a shop, this is what I want. That's not the process in choosing an assistive technology, but it's a panel of people sitting around the child, understanding for example, psychologist is a person who understands the child, is the behavior only in this situation. If the child does not react to stimulus only in this situation, in this area, or is the child always like this, factors like that. For example, the physical therapist, looks into concepts like, is it a motor impairment? Is it something, is it something that inside the body that limits the person? So there are different people looking into different aspects, and finally parents seeking the background that helps the child to, take into the right form of assistive technology. As for you, all the techies and all the brilliant students out there, it's not easy to design, like right away design an assistive technology, because, lots of specialities, lots of customization, color. Some children might be prone to color problems, some children might be prone to sensory problems. So all this has to be kept in mind while developing a technology. Now, there's a huge, like I said, there's a huge spectrum of assistive technology, starting from low tech to high tech. So we'll go one by one, and there's mid tech as well. So we'll go one by one. Okay. So what is low tech? Low tech, as it sounds, low tech assistive technology, as it sounds, is something very primitive. Primitive in the sense it's not primitive in its function. It can create a huge change when a child use as assistive technology. It's simple. It doesn't involve much complex process. It doesn't like, you don't need a catalog to understand what is the function. For example, if I give you a magnifying glass, of course, all of you will know that, even a child will know that this is what I can use it for. For people with vision problems, for people with problems with gripping problems, grasping problems. So these sort of interventions can be really effective, and it's also less expensive and does not involve much of a complex process, but helps the child to be independent. You can't hold the pencil properly, so you're giving a grip. So initially, when the child loses grips and all, they'll automatically be disturbed, and they don't want to use it because right now the starting age to write is like 4 or 5 years, because the school starts letting the children write early. There's a lot of change in curriculum, so you're actually pressurizing the child, and there's no mistakes in that, but the thing is that the child has to be reinforced. So how exactly would you take it to the next level? So would you introduce colors in the low tech assistive technology? Is it effective enough? There's a lot of questions, but as such, low tech assistive technology can be even made at home. Simple straws, for example, a person who has gross motor means function like problems with grasping, fine motor problems with picking up. So what do you do? So I want to make my son more improve in this skill. What should I do? So I go take a box, I put a hole, and then take a couple of straws, and tells my son, if you do this, I'll give you a chocolate. So when the child puts each straws in it, he's emphasizing his fine motor skills. So low tech can be literally from the lowest starting DIY home materials to pencil grips and all. It's simple in its function. Feeding spoons, forks, it's all comes under low tech assistive technology, giving a little bit of grip and empowering the child to be, The next is assistive, mid-tech assistive technology. As it sounds, it is a bit of a complex. The child and the parent might need a little bit of training, because at first, like for example, ACC, alternative augmented communication. At first, you go present the child a tab, and the child doesn't know what it is. The child starts pressing every buttons. Maybe the child likes to do it again to hear the sounds of it. But then later you start slowly slowly you start. When you want, if you're hungry, you have to press this button. The child doesn't understand, but later, when once the child presses the button, unknowingly the child gets a food or a reinforcement, maybe a cookie. So so that's when the child says, oh, if I want something, I have. So slowly that understanding comes in, and both the parent and the child has, maybe the parent will have another method to introduce these concepts. So it is the parent that trains the child to get more used to this sort of technology. It is a bit more expensive, but it can be really effective, especially for those impaired with speech, because it gives them a voice. We all talk about freedom. We all talk about freedom of expression, right? So what happens to those who are not able to, this sort of technology can really improve their communication and also participation in this thing. So examples are, yeah, examples are amplifiers, hearing mechanisms. Can everybody hear me? Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh. Okay, I'm so sorry. I keep losing my network connections. That's why I asked for confirmation. I'm so sorry. Yeah, so big technology as it is, it's a bit more complex, starting from wheelchairs. Wheelchairs, it's like manual wheelchairs. You have to use it. You have to adjust your child to the mechanisms of it. Maybe not every person can be adapted to it, because the cloth of it can be a bit allergic. You have to understand each and every need of the child, and sometimes maybe presenting that sort of technology may not be adaptable to the child. So the child immediately rejects. Why is she rejecting? So these sort of questions can actually be answered by special educators, psychologists, occupational therapists, knowing what is the main cause. Maybe the parent may not understand it, but parents who knows their children really well may at one point can understand. But this team of people who is in the panel can really help with that sort of issues. So that is mid-assistive technology. And finally, high-tech assistive technology. This is a huge spectrum that is growing day by day for the blind, for phobias, for disorders. So as the name suggests, it's a bit of a complex device or equipment or a device, software or a hardware, like software-hardware combination. It's definitely computerized, and it might involve AI components. And it can it can take time to learn that sort of technology, but learning is definitely going to impact the benefit. So it's worth it, and it can be a bit more expensive, but the services that such type of technology provides can bring a huge impact on the child as well. So what exactly are examples? I'd also introduce an application. So examples like digital hearing aids, like automatically helping the child to interpret and interpret signals and all that, and computers with special softwares for training and rehabilitation, hands-free headsets, voice activated. Voice activation is another big area where assistive technology is growing, because the person who is very much impaired wants to cross the hall, or wants to taste something, or wants to know what the weather is. It's very difficult to just go there like a normal person. But voice activation, such type of technology helps a person to access things around and find information very easily as well. What are the trends in assistive technology? So all of you techies and brilliant ones out there, if you're really looking forward to being part of this sort of technology, being part of this rehabilitation, because it's a huge, you will have no idea, because this sort of implementing this sort of technology or rehabilitation for the children, you can really see the joy in their faces when they try something new, when it's really working on them, and when it's really enjoying, letting them enjoy. It's a huge happiness for us inside. So all these brilliant ones out there who is looking to develop such types of technology, there there are a few points that we have to ensure when developing that sort of assistive technology. So right now there's not there's not much of it should be an equipment, it should be a device. It's like there's no limitation, but all we have to consider is like based on the acceptability. The trend is being portable. Okay, that is the first thing. It should be a portable thing. I mean, take it to the different places. It should be small. Like there are a lot of things that comes under portability. So that is it helps in accessing. If the child has to come each time, has to come, take a lot of measures, and then it can be only put into some places, so it limits the access to such type of technology. So first thing, it should be portable, and second thing, it should be inclusive design, meaning there are lots of by disability, and we can't generalize all into one thing. So that is, it's very difficult when you are focusing on one spectrum disorder, because autism like for example, autism spectrum is a huge spectrum, and you can't just put a design and you can say this is applicable to all. You have to tweak in each thing, and you have to decide what exactly the child needs. It should be designed this way, it should be customized in this way. So understanding what sort of design would really help the child, maybe for each child it might be different. So understanding that sort of things is very important. And third thing, nowadays it's very much trend in the voice assistance, because it really helps with people who really need help with speech, and not just that, speech impaired in the sense that those who can't speak can use this sort of devices to have a voice, and also those who are hearing impaired will also have this this sort of technology that would really help them, that helps them to be part of school programs. It really doesn't push them away, but it can give access to them. So maybe autism spectrum, children in autism spectrum or etc are non-verbal. So what do? So giving them access to this sort of technology helps them to get a voice, understand, and be verbal about it. So the next thing is, like, there's something called engineering psychology, where the aspects involved in is called it's very complex. Like, if for example, if I make a stove and I put it in the market, nobody is coming and buying it. So I keep wondering, why isn't nobody buying? Is it too costly? Is it too hard? Is it too heavy? So I think about those components. But when I bring in an engineering psychologist, the person would tell, she would do a little, she or she would do a little research and understand, why actually the person, people are not willing to buy it, because people have issues in accessing the whole handle of it, because usually the handles are placed front, this is in the sides. Maybe it looks a beautiful, it creates a beautiful view, but it's not actually accessible. So you understand, it should be a mechanic, it should be a technology that is user-friendly, and it should be effectively interacted with, because for a person to hold a handle in the front and to go in the side, it's completely two different things. Maybe it's just a design problem, but for us, it's an ease of access. So there's a lot of things that comes under assistive technology mechanics. And then it's the user technology physical interface, because in choosing the right sort of assistive technology, there are four components, mainly the individual, the task that individual does, the context that individual lives in, and then finally the technology that individual lives with. So these four components really interacts. It should interact, and only when an assistive technology that supports these four components will help the child to really improve. For example, a person who is autistic child, for example, a person who is autistic, and now the child has problems with sensory issues. So when the child goes out, the child can't bear the sunlight, it's annoying, it's lots of noises at the same time, lots of murmuring. So what exactly you do? You give them something like a fidget spinner to control their sensory issues, so that they get distracted with all other sensory problems and then focus on this. Is it working? Sometimes it might work, sometimes it might not. So what happens if that does not work? So then you think about something that controls this sort of distractions. So then there comes a solution. What is the solution that controls this sort of distraction? Something that maybe a chip, maybe a specs, something that controls the brain impulses. So there comes the physical interface component that we really have to think. And then finally, sharing, if the user is not comfortable with the technology, there's no use in giving the best assistive technology. You should really look into what the user is interested in. Maybe the child is not interested in just colors, and he or she wants different things, maybe like something more interactive, like avatars in a therapy center. So what I've seen is, personally, I've given therapies, and what I have seen is, like, the child comes into the therapy session, the child sits quietly, just bears us, giving instruction completely for like 5-10 minutes, and then suddenly the child starts getting distracted. Why is the child getting distracted? I mean, we are giving them a lot of inputs, a lot of color pencils, a lot of teddy bears. Nothing is helping the child to stay focused. Why is it happening? And then finally I came into this awesome company that has a beautiful product, and I really understood why therapies are boring, because these children at some point in time, because maximum, like, even for you listening to this sort of lectures can be boring after like 5-10 minutes, like after looking into the details of it, the color, the expressions and all, it can be boring sometimes. So what exactly can trigger the attention issues? So that is one such of application that's out there with this sort of rehabilitation therapy, that has the user's attention, interest, and the level of participation. All these are important components. And lastly, when you develop a technology, you should be very much familiar with 5 components and plus, I call it 5A and plus Q. So the acceptability of the technology, the availability of it, the adaptability of it, the affordability of it, and also the quality of it. So this is these components are like huge. So starting with availability, if for example, there are a lot of countries that have impaired children, but the resources are very limited. What happens to that sort of countries? So there are nowadays there's a lot of programs, individualized educational programs for such sort of children that have funding for that sort of technology. So this is the main reason that limits a child to go get access to the AT technology. So availability is a major factor. Then it's also accessibility. If it's not accessible enough, it's not it doesn't go with the design, it doesn't adapt, it's not very adaptive. These factors can really put into barriers, rather than facilitating and improving the skills. It can help the child is put into more barriers. So these factors are really important. And finally, the other factor is affordability. If the child, one reason that not much people are aware of such assistive technology is, like, people worry that it's very costly, it's not that effective. So it's a lot of issues and stereotypes in this sort of technology. But lack of awareness and lack of proper resources and campaigning can create this sort of stereotyping. Affordability is definitely a problem, but working out in a portable solution kind of way can really help the any class, like middle class. I'm not categorizing classes, but it should be affordable to normal population. It shouldn't be that huge and all. So what if we bring that sort of technologies to hospitals first? So all those concepts has to be taught. And definitely adaptability. The child has to be adapted to that sort of technology, because it is the child who has to use it. And at the end of the day, you bring the technology to the child, you teach the child for a couple of days, and then you move on, and it's not effective. There's no meaning in giving them sort of, even when it's a high cost effective tool. If the child is not using it, it's definitely worthless. So you should definitely make sure it is adaptable to the child's needs. Acceptability is another thing. Major problems that we face in the assistive technology is like lack of awareness. Like, if I give this sort of technology, will it really affect his brain? I mean, will it hurt my child? My child has a sensory issue. This sort of technology can affect his senses. Lots of stereotype thinking and maybe lack of awareness that can really really limit the acceptability. So it is in developing a design, you should really go into people, understand what sort of designs they need, what sort of design they require. Some children might be problematic in closed spaces. So what as a parent, what do you think it is good? So understanding the acceptability among population is very important. And finally, it's the quality. Quality is the first thing that should be ensured in any sort of technology, starting from low, mid, and high. The quality is all that matters. Like, it's a major factor that matters. Meaning, if quality doesn't come up to its level, it can really hinder the developmental skills of the child. For example, every children, their development age from 3 to 8 is very critical. Their muscles, their cognitive skills, all are developing. It's like those periods are really developmental. Like, I'm not telling the other periods are not developmental, but this is a very critical period where the child has to be really given early intervention of assistive technology. Sort of period can be very important. So the quality, if it's very bad or it's poor, it can really help barrier. It can cause barrier in the child's development. So that is the trends in assistive technology. Finally, the applications. Applications, there's a huge, it's huge. There's nothing limitation to only physical impairment, only motor impairment, or sensory impairment. It's a huge spectrum of application where you have all the brainiacs and techie people there out there. You have a huge opportunity in this field where the understanding your problems. For example, I'm pretty sure all of you might have come across some sort of disability, and you maybe sympathizing is not the right solution. Maybe empathizing is right solution. What will I do to overcome this? So that sort of thinking can really put into solutions. So students with severe they have most often people who have differently challenged have severe limited interactions that really put them away from the community. But what exactly would we do to bring them into? These are just problem statements that can have application solutions. And providing a means of technology in the best quality and quantity in times of interacting helps the students to come up in terms of involvement, in terms of participation, in terms of more it really builds self-confidence and self-esteem. A person who has low self-confidence and and person who has high self-confidence, we can really identify even with the facial expressions, right? So imagine a person who might imagine me as a person with severe impairment. I go to an interview board, but I'm very confident about myself. So imagine what sort of change will bring to the score that finally I get. So that sort of interventions are really necessary, and technology can really help with it. Robotic technology is another big area that has a huge wide of application. It can be applicable to autism spectrum. It can be applicable to motor impairments. Assisting AI-related assistance can really put into interactions with the child. For example, not all autistic children are very happy with interacting with people. So how do you teach a child to how to interact? Robot assistance and robotic interactions can help the child initially to come up with communications, etc. In order to engage in any sort of rehabilitation assistive technology, the first primary thing is that they have to be engaged. Especially when it comes to disorders, phobias, everything, if there's distractions, if there is a sort of problems coming in, the child can't, even when the child is when the person is using the stretches, if he or she is not attentive enough, he or she will lose balance. So that is the thing. So we should really ensure with whatever sort of technology we should it should be really engaging. And with the present development of the technologies, there is a huge possibility in letting the child be involved in recognitional skills, recreational skills, vocational skills. There's nothing limiting the child. So there is a huge wide of application range in that sort of thing. For example, a child is, for me, if I am a child with who is differently able, I have problems with going facing the interview board. I have problems with staying by myself. I have phobias. So what sort of technology would really help me? What sort of therapies would really help me? And then integrating into that something that has a software into it can be really a big application. And any person with any sort of impairment or differently challenged, I'm not limiting the person, but I'm trying to explain any aspect of it, probably related to the daily life skills. They might have a barrier to move for it. How exactly? For example, taking an example of, I'm sorry, I keep taking examples of autism because my area of interest is autism, and the child has severe issues with self-care skills. The child has severe issues with vocational skills. I really want my child to improve it. So how exactly are you going to put daily life skills? It's very difficult. You use picture systems to make the child understand, but the child is not getting it. You show examples of it, but the child is not getting it. But what if we finally put into some scenarios where the cartoon figures, the interactive figures, the child is very interested in cartoons, obviously. So, tries to interact and teach. Will the child be attentive enough? Will the child take and understand? Yes, I've seen examples of it. So, yeah, so that all that concepts has to be understood. And finally, it is the caregivers and the panel behind the assisting to take the right assistive technology that decides the child what sort of technology. It's like if the child says, I want that technology, it is not exactly that how it works, but it is this panel that panel including parents and other people who are involved in that process to take the right sort of technology. Probably for a person who is autistic, if I'm a person who is autistic, I might have issues with gross motor, fine motor, vocational, lots of skills. So I might need a mix of all this low tech and high tech. So it can really improve my skills as well. So it can be a mixture of all those technologies as well. Now I'm going to introduce you to the biggest application of my company. It is one of the high-tech assistive application. It's called AutiCare. It is an AI-based assistive technology platform for autism spectrum disorder and special education. We have with us the person behind this idea, the co-founders. I'm very happy to be to join them as well. So. I have with me Satya and Bobin Chandra. So I would really love, Satya, are you there?
Yeah, hi all. Manna, actually, just continue with that, and I'll take it up last, and I'll introduce about how to kick off with the the 80 devices as well. So just please carry on with that presentation. I'll take it last.
Sure. Sure. This product, as I'm saying, and I'm very proud of it. This product has won the best innovation award by BIRAC. It is a huge innovation grant. At the same time, it has won the best assistive technology award by TMA Adani. We have put across this product in a government portal called GEM portal. There's a huge wide application and achievements that we got for this brilliant product. I'm very happy to be part of this project as well. This is especially for autism spectrum disorder and also for learning disabilities. So let's see what this high-tech application is all about. Like I said, as a person, as a therapist, I go to clinics. I struggle with getting the children's attention. I do a lot of funny faces. I'm still not getting attention. I do a lot of things to, I have sometimes, I have even, taken some broom sort of thing to get attention, because that is where the skill starts. It is the attention thing that starts with other things, task involvement. So just to get attention, I would literally, involve much components, but there is no use. Like 5-10 minutes they'll sit and then they'll start losing attention. So there's always that thing, I used to struggle with it. But then I joined this beautiful brilliant company where they bought up this technology. I mean, I'm proud to say I am part of it. We bought up this technology where attention is something that's very difficult to attain from a child who is autistic and learning disabled. But we have a technology that really focuses on that sort of sensory issues and attention skill issues. What it's all about, it's a virtual reality rehabilitation scenario based on ABA modules. For example, if I'm taking this, if an autistic child comes to me, I start giving them different exercises and tasks based on ABA modules. It's a standard for rehabilitating autistic children. And what this technology did is, which is brilliant, they took that sort of therapy modules, they've incorporated into a virtually simulated application where the child enters into a 3D very original playground. So imagine a child coming to my therapy room, which is just a room, just closed, just tight packed, and the child is already distracted with a lot of things. But imagine the same child being taken into a virtual scenario, which is so colorful, color sensitive also, because not all children are more approachable to green colors, red colors. So color sensitive as well. But there's a playground, the same tasks, the same ABA tasks are given in that simulated areas. Imagine the progress the child would make, because I have seen the progress literally. And imagine, for example, the therapy that I give, only there will be behavioral concepts in it. Is the child doing it? Is the child not doing it? Why is the child? So there are questions like that. But imagine, why is the child not doing it? I can't ask that question to the child itself, because the child may not be able to. Why? Some child may not be able to answer the solution as well. But imagine, understanding what the child's brain is going through. Imagine that sort of application. That is auto care. What the child is really going through, which areas of the brain are really active, why the child is not approachable to certain tasks. Is there some barrier? Is the child prone to epilepsy? Is the child prone to any sort of any other problems? So all these questions are just answered by this sort of applications, which is a huge. And then finally, we have this AI-based system that really interprets what sort of technology or what sort of therapy the child has to go with. So that is like a huge intervention for therapists as well. So like I told, the traditional diagnosis takes like, weeks to understand what a simple problem the child is. But the same thing when administered to a child in a clinic center, within like 30-45 minutes, we are done. The assessment is done. We can really understand what the child has the problem, where the child has, where the disability is. So that is the major solution. So these are the solutions that AutoCare takes care of. A delayed time-taking process is made faster and effective. Restricted conventional room therapies is made into more social developmental skills. Less engaging, like I told, very less engaging and difficult therapy sessions are made interactive, and the children loves doing this sort of therapy. So that is this is the application that's great about. And so imagine the child coming to the center, and I tell the parents, the child did the good job today. Where the parent is not knowing what I'm doing inside the room. I might be faking it. I might let the child sit in a corner. You can really access the it's just a word of mouth. But imagine you can really show the parent the progress the child has done today. My child has your child has done this much, it has progressed this much. Showing quantitative data can really encourage parents as well as the child itself. Good job. Instead of saying this good job, you're showing progress. So it's a huge thing. Expensive treatment centers, hours and hours can in institutions, it can spend lakhs of monies. For example, a child reaching at the age of 18 who is autistic spend lakhs of monies for therapy and interventions. But imagine this sort of intervention, when integrated with other therapies as well, can bring a huge impact when the child is at a major age. The child is trained in vocational skills, sensory skills, occupational skills, lots of skills. The child is trained simultaneously. And Of course, there is always some parents have come up to me and told, I want that therapist because she is really good. What does she do, etc. There's always a lack of good therapists. So what if I tell you there is always a systematic approach where you don't have to, engage with, a normal therapist is just the assistance you need, and you can get a very quality therapy sessions. So that is Auti Care. So what Auti Care does is, this is the areas that Auti Care has: behavioral, cognitive, physical, self-care, vocational skills, sensory skills. So all these areas, therapy modules are already prepared, and it's given. So these skills are already tapped, and with the data of progress, it's obtained in the AI cloud. So that is the impact of Auti Care. And I've taken it into a couple of scenarios that we already have developed. So we have a huge wide of application. This is just a bit of it. So cognitive areas, what sort of issues are tapped in it? Attention skills, focus, response initiation, hand motor skills, visual tracking. Autistic children can be very specific in certain areas where, they are very restricted to, they only focus in this area. So what exactly is happening in that sort of area can be really interpreted in this AI cloud machine. So that's a huge thing which even therapists may be limited to do. Social areas, the child is not talking, the child is not verbal, why is not sharing, and he's least interested to talk to people. So what do you do? I have seen children who taste this, they'll be like, they're excited, lots of emotions, they see things running around, there's a lot of emotions as well. So peer interactions, all this pragmatic skills, all this are emphasized in Auti Care as well. Self-care skills is another area which a lot of parents find trouble with, training them in brushing, bathing, dressing and grouping. All these skills have to be independent. So it is a huge area that Auti Care really puts into it. A physical aspect, a lot of children who might be lazy or might have the other reasons, they are very adamant that they want to sit and stand or do activities. So imagine we give a lot of colorful exercise in a virtually simulated area. I've seen lots of children who does activities in the therapy rooms, they don't do it, but when given, they're excited, they do things. So the progress is actually marked in it. And when the question is like, would they be too much attached to it? No, there's always a therapy session time, and the child's behavior is always reinforced through such assistive technologies. There's behavioral aspects. There's always behaviors that has to be reinforced, that has to be improved, and that has to be stopped. So there are aspects in Auti Care that really looks into that area as well. And the sensory aspect, of course, the child has sensory issues. The child doesn't like touching other person, or the person touching the therapist. I even got slapped one of my clients once because I just touched him in his back, so he got really vulnerable and he gave me one. so that is the type of sensory issues they face. So imagine a virtually simulated area where they given that same sort of therapy in a virtual scenario with better attention. So that is Auti Care. A lot of people have just came up to me and told, I just want my son to earn a basic job. There's nothing called basic job right now, because there is no limitation that lets the person to stand in an area. This is the sort of only work that you can do, because they are not good for the other one. There's nothing like that, because Auti Care and this sort of assistive technology is actually giving them rehabilitation services to go through this sort of vocation, to go through, driving, to go to an interview board, giving them that sort of exposure in a very early stage can really have an impact on children. So what the platform and the target and the benefits are it's a huge wide possibility for this sort of technology. We have also a home-based version of it where parents can help it as well. It focuses on a lot of things. Physical aspect, there's I can definitely say there's no other component in the world that focuses on this 5 aspects. I can definitely say I'm very proud of it, that I'm part of it. So this is a huge application in high-tech assistive technology. and it's cost effective as well. And that is my slides. And I would really love to Satya to join us, because Satya and Bobin as well has come a long way with this product, and it's a huge achievement that we have got so far. Nothing has gone lost, but all has come up with a huge achievement as well. We would love you to join as well. Satya, would you like to come in?
Yeah, hi all. Thank you for this opportunity as well, and hope all got some sort of idea about how to, really start with this technology. So first of all, thank you, Manna. So I just peep in because I have it's not scheduled in this meeting, but I'll just give some idea about how to just start off. If I'm sorry, you have any background noise, I'm near to the chill. Okay, so all right, so okay, so I'll just give a brief idea about how we actually start off, and thank you MBCT for the long giving opportunity for this session, and also that get people understanding about what our startup is doing. So basically I'm from Trivandrum, Malayali Danyana. So I know MBCT. I've been in MBCT for a long time, in my college days, and also that I remember Crossroads over there. Okay, so anyway, so what actually strikes us to develop this product, I just start off basically one sort of things is like a problem statement. Identifying the right problem statement is the first point that I came to my mind. So I'll just give you a small brief about how this start off point is happening. It's not like you choosing assistive technology and building a product. It's not like that. So it might happen like identifying the right opportunity, and how we getting the opportunity. The opportunity is been chosen by identifying the problem. So that's how it start off. And so there are multiple area where you can actually move on to and identify the problem. So most of the area I think she has taken through. So I'll also give some brief idea how we can choose the right market opportunity. So just hold on, I'll share the screen. When I just share the screen, would you able to? All right. Okay. Well, so before that, as I where to see how to see a bigger picture of the market. So we have to know about what is the right market size right now. So I'll tell you where we have to choose, or where we have to start off. So now the current market size and the market opportunity is it's bigger. I can say it's in a double digit $1 billion in across the globe. So since 2019, it's been already kicked off, and many companies are coming up with this sort of technology which is commercialized. Earlier, it was just for a specific institute or specific individuals, like Stephen Hawking's. One of the example, like he was using a high tech AT tool, like a Steve. Technology wheelchair, and also many other high-tech computers or a special purpose computer to access and also to know about his audio and speech to audio or speech text conversion, all sort of AI things has been there. So now it has come across in a very mature market, and just see how this growth happening in the global aspect. And you can see this is we can see about like this is the incremental growth happening in around 8.3 billion incremental growth. So I'll give you a source of this this data. And so there is 8% accelerated growth happening, but as per this pandemic situation, it's maybe double, I can say. That's what the industry experts are saying, all the sort of things. So let's see the actual growth. So actual requirement, is it the market is ready to buy that sort of technology? One thing we have to really want to know that part. And next thing is that solving the problem. These are the two things when you see in a kicking off a startup or a kicking off a product development which is commercialized. You have to see whether the market is ready to buy the product first of all, and see whether you have a right audience that you can able to afford this product. So these are two things majorly you have to look into when you first you start with the design aspect itself. Um, then I'll take you to the other slide. So this is the actual growth happening in this other major area, like fastest growing in 80, I can say, than US. But this but based on that Gardner and other super data. So there are multiple forecasting companies are there, like Gardner and super data. So you guys go through it, you just Google it and you can see that how the hype cycle look like. So when you just started, if you're looking for a business aspect or looking for a product development, you have to see the market happening in this tech aspect as well. I'll just introduce about those part in later stage. So I'm just giving you an idea about like where are the actual growth happening across the world. Then this is a big place out there where you can see, okay. So okay, I'll just take you to this slide, where very important is that identify the right problem statement is very important, as I said. Okay, so here you can see that um, like this is a set of disability where you can identify it. So when you just started off, identify which area that you can focus on. Okay, and there are, you can say, around 12 or 11 major disability. So there are many associations who actually identify the regulations aspect, policy aspect. So as per the UN, there are major 4 rules they say, because there is no policy will be attached to it where which is hindering the growth of IAT tools. So there is a degree of freedom that you can able to work it out based on the multiple trials. What I mean by trials is that, if you find out the problem statement in each sector, like here you can see ASD. Our company actually focused on ASD because I have a background knowledge about this ASD, because my mom, she's a therapist, and she was therapist in she's the college hospital in Trandrum, and also she has a therapy center. So my childhood onwards, I know about these kids and how this they're growing. So that's what I come to know about this sort of things. But moreover, knowing this each area is very important. That's a very important part. So knowing each area means either you should have a mentor, or you can go to an accelerator program. I mean, basically accelerator programs are many there in India and globally. There are 80 there are multiple accelerator program happening. I'll introduce to that as well. So while going there, but before we going there, they have a screening process. So they'll look into it. Okay, what is your solution? What are you going to solve? What problem you are looking into it? So that you need some idea which is which you can able to present in front of them, and which is scalable and commercialized. So this is a start off point. So this is how you can kick off. So where identify the set of disability area that you can able to you can look into it. So which problem you are solving in this sector, that is what it matters. It's not like building an 80 tool and I can sell it off, not like that. So and if you pick it one of the problem statement, maybe one product can actually help all this, some sort of, see, our product actually helps in ASD, called autism spectrum disorder. It can help in communication disorder, can help in learning disability, cognitive disability, and AAC, cognitive and alternative communication device. So that's what I actually requesting you to actually, if you really want to start off, look into the various aspect of disability out there, and then you find out what is the actual technology dealing with. Is there any companies out there? I show you some of the sample companies. Just hold on. Some of the recognized companies in India I can show you. One is that ID. You can just look into it. This is a technology caring for blind and visual impairment. So what IDs do is that they have a mobile app. It's a simple mobile app where it is just attached to all the functionality, and they're introducing a glass as well, which can both for deaf and ear impairment. So when they click into each button, it'll be there'll be audio responses there, and keep on pressing for 10 seconds or 5 seconds, that will be activated like that. So that's how this and they've been recognized. They're based in Bangalore as well. And then I can say, and both they are actually both working in the both speech aspect. So they have a bone conduction audio system, and also they have a camera which can recognize the text and to speeches. So this is one sort of company which is actually successfully working in this sector, where I can say blindness, low vision, deaf, and hard of hearing. So that's one company I can say. The second one is Inklo, where they are basically so it's basically it's a match making platform for disability. So it's just like a what I can say, it's just like identifying the right community over the different mobile applications. So they're also based in Bangalore, Inklo. And then it's innovation is something which is for blind people. They have braille. For multi-language and affordability. It's world's most affordable smart braille display. So this they're also based in Bangalore NASCOM, and our colleague as well. We are based in Bangalore NASCOM as well, and Kerala Startup Mission. So so here we can see that they are they have these as features like 6 dock 20 braille cells, standalone notepad. So maybe you can even work out in this way, where you can look into it a combination of 80 tools as well. That is also, I mean, a right way of moving across combination. So we also, I mean, having that sort of approach where identifying the off-the-shelf hardware. Off-the-shelf hardware is like which is available already there. We actually, that's how we can save a lot of time, but the cost might be higher. But just identify how to solve it. That's what the that sort of strategies what you have to make it. One is that rapid prototyping. When you just identifying a product development, when you come into the picture, like you got a defined problem statement. Just identify there are two types of designing, like a modular designing is there. So modular designing is actually, as you know, in mechanical, I think there are, even though in engineering we learn about modular design, where it is a step-by-step approach based on the different versions, like a beta, alpha version, beta version testing, and then commercial version with the compliances. Then the final version, before the MVP, they will identify whether all the regulations and compliances like CE, FCC, FDA license, and all those regulations are being gone through. So it is a long process, I can say. Definitely is a long process. And for us, it is being supported by IIT Kanpur and IIT Mumbai. Sign, there's in IIT Mumbai, there's a program called Sign. So it's basically is helping how to design a product, and actually and also that they'll help you through the entire process. So that minimum time is 18 months. Basically, minimum time is 18 months. So what we identify is that we actually got recognized by Department of Science and Technology. We actually put across our product in front of them. There are multiple challenges program like BioRack. So BioRack is a biotechnology grant, and it's by the Department of Science and Technology. It's a 50 lakh grant, and definitely it's a good opportunity for young entrepreneurs who can able to kick off. But before that, identify the problems very much and have a deep study on it, because there is a 18-member panel grilling us, and there are a lot of questions comes to it. So before that, that's the reason I'm saying, backpack, the backpack should be full of homework you have to do. When you just present in front of this, it's not like a presenting a small app idea, or it's not like a presenting a mobile app idea and just presenting in front of them, because they have healthcare lawyers, they have medical lawyers, and Citizco is Central Medical and Drugs and Medical Device organization in Government of India. And there are other technology experts will be there. So they might actually gone through with multiple problem statements, multiple technology life cycles. So I'm not saying that you actually take in there see you have to go through all things and learn it, but you have to see a big picture of it. Big picture means that start with the market size, and because people like to commercialize. So here, government is completely focusing on to commercialize the product, and which is scalable, affordable, and also commercialize in global aspect. So and another main thing we have to look into is the IP aspect. So IP is intellectual property, and where you can able to, if your product can be able to classify an IP, that'll be great. Yeah. So if I'm taking long time, I'm sorry, I'm just giving tips which is really helpful for you to in the product development. And yeah, associations, you can able to look into it. I can I can help you out, what kind of association you can able to, be in touch with. So here you will come to know about yeah, this is one of the association called AT Association Industry Industry Association, where you can know about what is you can learn about what is AT. I just put this in the chat. Just 1 minute. All right, I just put in the chat as well. So where you can start with? You can able to start with knowing about AT. You can see about the classification: AT, low tech, high tech, special purpose computers, and also those sort of things. And you have different associations out there, and you can see who pays for it. So end of the day, who pays for it? End of the day, who having disability. And first of all, you have to know about AT is meant for. It should be a software. It can be equipment,
Satya,
software. Yeah, sorry. Yes.
thank you so much.
Okay.
I think we are running out of time.
Sure.
Thank you so much, Satya, for sharing your experience and for so much material that is ready, that you are ready with to share with our students. So I think the students also have a question to you and Manna. It is the question, it's there in the chat box. How will we be able to identify special talents in specially able children? Will technology help us identify it easily?
So
Satik,
yeah, Manna, please. Yeah.
can I take this question? Okay. Thank you so much for the question. I really would appreciate more questions, because this is definitely a new area. And thank you so much for the question once again. Like normally, any person, any normal or a specially able person go into a clinic therapy or anything, there will be a set of assessments ready to understand what sort of talent the person already has. This is, I'm talking about standardized assessment in a certain area. Is the person good at cognitive? Is the person good at vocational? What sort of area? There are a lot of assessments for that. So when a parent comes to us for assessments, we put the child in a lot of set of assessment to understand what exactly the child's talent is. So now when I'm talking, right now we have that in Auticare, where we put these assessments in virtually simulated simulated environments, and help them to really go through the process. And at the end of the process, we get scoring tracks where each area is tabbed and scored, and we can really know that which area is the child good at. I mean, because it's virtually simulated, the child's involvement is more, and the child's skills are more highly tapped. So I'm answering your question. There are different assessments to understand what the talent or the ability of the child is. So this assessment can be put into technologies, especially in Auticare. We already have that. We can put these assessments, because these are standardized assessment. This is used across the globe for for different sort of things. So putting those assessments into technologies can really give a big result and really understand what the area of the child is, like which area of interest, which talent, all this can be tapped into it. So I'm telling it is already there and is there in Auticare. So anything to add, Satya?
I'm sorry. So I got muted. So basically, there's a diagnosis process. There are different diagnosis process happening. Like there are scoring patterns, like CAR score and ISA scale as well. So to knowing about to these kids, we have to assess these kids first of all. So there's a standard process for it. So we actually following the same process, and only thing is that we created the content which is something simulated environment. So which is a virtually simulated environment where that we can able to identify where in which area the kid is being improved. There are multiple areas, as we said. Major area is cognitive, social, and self-care area as well. So yeah, first of all, identify, diagnosis, and do the assessment, and know about the kids like that. I hope that'll be helpful for you guys. Is there any doubt in that?
I think with students, you can post the remaining of your queries in the chat box. We'll share these questions to you, Satya. Bobin and Satya, our students have also said that they would like to know whether you have any opportunities for them in your company, like internship.
Definitely. So that's what first of all, I can say that. So I'll answer this question, like how long you think differently able question. So yeah, so I'll tell you very in short. So technology is not the real part where we identify what the real way of assessment, because there are traditional assessment which completely proven assessment is there. So we are just inducing technology just to assist the therapist to make the diagnosis more easier. Okay, and also that adapting to the technology is very important, where certain, like you can see there's a virtual reality. There are a lot of headset outside there. So we using HTC Vive. Why we using HTC Vive? And Oculus Quest is there. These are two headgears available, but the weight is very important. And people, some people, kids doesn't like the sensory things as well. We have a solution for that. We won't use the headgear who having a sensory issues. We use projection screen based. That's called Blue Room. Okay, so it's a sensory enabled, it's a touch enabled Blue Room. Is actually set up in a sensory room where it consists of multiple projector. It's like a projection mapping, and they can able to touch and interact with it. So that's how so adapt to the technology can change as per the adaptation to based on the adaptation. That's what I can say. Okay, autistic.
I would also like to add for a different the time taken to process a technological product might be different for each students. It might be different for autism. It might be different for cerebral palsy. So it can be very much different from one person to the other. So as far as Auticare is concerned, some children might have like 2-3 of them, very exceptional cases, have had shown difficulty initially because they had sensory issues, but after like a few sessions, the child really loved the product. The child started asking the parent, take me to it, because the reinforcement is much better. So as long as the technological product identify the individual's interest, that's what I like earlier I emphasized, the interest of the participant. Is the child like more animal content, or more contents related to colors? So identifying the interest plus integrating into the technological product can really be beneficial when it comes to technological product. I hope I answered your question, because each student, it can be subjective, but identifying the interest and then working on it can really bring progress. The next question is, autistic children often turns wild. Of course, autistic children often turns violent. Why they turn violent? Because they get a lot of sensory input at the same time. I mean, who doesn't get angry when they have 5 people around them screaming at them at the same time at the maximum pitch? I'll go mad. So of course, so what Auticare really does is, there are scenarios to calm them down, projection systems as well as headset systems to calm them down, to calm their sensory issues, take them slow. Our clinicians and therapists really came back to us and told, children who have mood swings and violent behaviors who were taken to use auto care were really calm when they were given auto care. I mean, that is a huge because sometimes when I was working as a therapist in Icons, I got slapped. So that is how the extent could be. So autocare really has a magic in it. So that's how autocare tackles. If the child is very much hyperactive, there are scenarios to calm them down, bring them to a normal state, and then proceed. I hope I have answered your question. Satya, would you like to add something?
Yeah, as you said, we this is an IPMR in Thrissur where we actually help in setting up this thing. They are one of our customers as well, and here what we have is we have a 360-degree scenarios, multiple scenarios we actually took, and also that is being projected in a sensory ward where consists of gesture identification. Kinet. Like Kinet is something. Microsoft Kinet is one of the 3D camera where it actually sends gesture, hand gesture, and also we have a wall sensor, wall sensory touch, all IR and infrared and ultrasonic devices which can actually interrupt and basically haptic. So here we are not putting across any haptics will be comes across within the headgear basis system, where here the kids who are having a sensory issue, they can able to play well with this sort of virtual reality room. This is another version of the virtual reality called Blue Room. So hope you can hope that will be clarified. And also we made a virtual reality room for there, and we're looking forward for implementing other in Bangalore as well. So we are actually in touch with the institute like NIPMR, NIMHANS in Bangalore with their response. First of all, there is some sort of things like a randomized control trial. So that is an approach that you have to do. Identify when you do some kind of implementation. So identify whether this implementation having a real outcome. So where I'll show you this. What are the outcomes we actually we actually got through it. So yes. Okay. So yeah, so this is what I can able to help with our product outcome, where we did a randomized control for 100 kids, and identify whether it is with VR and without VR, what is the changes happening, and identify all the areas, like not just a sensory area where a reaction time, attention span, what are the time taking for each scenario, that need to be classified, and that need to be certified as well by the doctors. So we did our studies, and these are the studies. This sample four kids sample, I can say here. Over the period, this is the x-axis showing the intervention, number of intervention we did. Per intervention is 30 to 45 minutes of duration, and the y-axis show the success count. So success count is based on all these areas, like as she mentioned, we are focusing in all these sensory areas based on the Indian scale of assessment of autism, and based on this, we identify all this improvement happening in all these sectors, and that is how the success count is being defined. So you can see the kids actually improving over the period of time. This show that this graph show that we can say that okay, yeah, this kid has been almost reaching to this so some kid is actually doing really good, because we don't know, autism kids are more unique, and also that autism kids have more high IQ as well. So because some kids are so good in numbers, some kids are so good in creative thinking, their IQ is far beyond than the normal kid as well. Yeah, I'll tell you one of the example. If one of the kids is here in Trivandrum itself, from Travancore National School, where this if you give a date, and if you just give a future date or a past date, he will be tell the right day of that particular date. So that's and that's hardly take 2 or 4 seconds. That's it. So and some kid is very good in the numbers as well, and where he actually can able to tell the any card numbers he saw on the last 1 week. Okay, so there are many.
Thank you.
Okay, any other good?
Thank you, Satya.
Yeah. All right.
That was a very good session. Lots of information you actually shared with us. The students, I'm sure, will be able to take from here, get get some inputs and find out what is the right problem statement that can be done, for their internship. It was really informative. Thanks a lot. We'll have
So
to.
you guys can write to, yeah, you can write to Embright Infotech, mail at the rate of Embright Infotech. We looking forward for so I just texted right now.
Yes,
Uh,
thank you.
so
Thanks a lot. I
okay,
definitely, Bobbin had also sent me the email and the
yeah, I
details.
got it.
I would definitely share it with the students, and those who are interested, they can, directly contact you also. Thanks a
Sure.
lot.
Thank you guys.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Manna. Thank you, Manna. It was a very interesting in a session. You actually shared a lot of information within a very short time, and even the feedback was very interesting. The students were also, I feel, they were very interested, and that's why a lot of questions were also coming up. Okay, so
Thank you so
it's
much.
almost time to wind up the session. Thanks a lot.